Overall, I am up, but I have one winning trade and one losing trade on it so far.
Would you mind going back to that winning trade and walking us through your thinking on it?
Well, sure. It was really it was that I had calculated them. So I had it in blue here, and I had it from a few weeks before. I talked about it on my YouTube channel, and I was like, 653 is the measured move. And I wasn't even in the trade at that time. Someone had won me charting this for them and sort of giving them my opinion of the chart. And so I did, and I said, and I was actually short biased at the time at breaking out of this. I was thinking that perhaps it might take a breather because it had gone up so far. But generally speaking, pennants are bullish. And so anyway, I was short. So I had a short bias, but I said, look, if it holds this pink line, it's still bullish. The pink line on the bottom, basically, if it closes the daily above, it's still bullish. And then if it breaks out, then the measured move is 653. All this time, I didn't actually even take my own trade because I just was like biased against it. So I waited until it got to this measured move and then took the short. And then, you had to get in and out of there pretty quick. But yeah.
So Julia, when you are taking the short, are you doing a traditional short sell?
No, I didn't in this case. I actually did options. And so that's why it was so and actually my options were at one point in the money. I was like, what? You know what I mean? And that was an incredible trade, I think, for me, actually.
I'm probably to a similar or maybe lesser level of understanding of how options work. I have like a base level, but when they work for me and I see like the percentage increase in their value, that is a rush. And that's like a big reason why I love them. So when you're taking a short position, following the measured move, which I imagine your measured move, correct me if I'm wrong, your measured move is about the length of the pole.
Yeah, exactly.
Leading into the pennant.
Exactly. Right. And so when it broke above this last measured move, I recalculated it to be a larger pennant. And that's how I got this next measured move. And because people were like, how are you doing this? Because I just sort of around here, I was like, going short again here kind of thing. But then it's really just consolidating. It's not moving. And then I said that if it breaks above this pennant, it would have a high likelihood of being a false breakout. And the reason that I thought that was because based on this upward, even from here, based on this upward move, it seems to me that it would require a longer period of consolidation to continue moving up at the same speed. And if it doesn't, then it almost has to, because if it doesn't continue moving up at the same speed, that's almost bearish. Mm-hmm. So that was my logic there. So it did break above, and then it was a false breakout. But now, I took the same slope from the top of the pennant here, and I applied it to this first high, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it's broken above and false breakout, but then again, and then today even we're back above it.
Yeah. So, that movement was weird. That I also was watching Tesla. I have been for the past week or so there, and not sure what the hell to do with that stuff. But really quick, Julia, I want to unify a couple points here that I think will answer some questions that folks watching are having. Okay. Number one is measured move, which, guys, remember when we're talking about a pennant pattern, the pennant has a pull leading up to it. So Julia has identified where an upward trend started and then ended and then started to turn into that pennant pattern. So that measured move is the length of the pull. So she added that to the breakout on her pennant.
Right.
And then, Julia, this is where I have a question. So we have, after the breakout on the pennant, we have price growth that is about the same as the pull length. Now, when you decided to short it, why did you decide to short it? Is it because after a measured move following a breakout, you expect people to take profit and sell?
Yes. Sometimes it seems like I'm trading against the trend. And of course I am sometimes. But really for me, it's about trying to find the most high probability thing that could happen at a particular price point. So it is just extremely high probability that after a measured move, it takes some sort of break. And, what I'm not good at, and I think I could definitely get better at, is if something is in such an uptrend like this, taking the actual trend with it once I'm done with my short. I'm not doing that just because I do feel, and in fact, some ways, so when it did its false breakout and it came back down, it left a gap. And in some ways, you could even say that it filling the gap right away is actually bearish, because like if you're a bull, you almost want that gap left open, and so that you can know to buy the dip, so that you will assume that ultimately, it may go down, it may go way down, but ultimately that gap is there. You can just leave it in your account, that sort of thing. There are lots of gaps here on the way up. There are gaps way down here. And so just like, here, there's a gap at 236. And before that, believe me, just generally speaking, algorithms like to hold slopes and algorithms like to fill gaps. And so I would say, because it's filled this gap already, if it does come back down below this original pennant line, if it closes below there, I think it's very bearish, that at least very short term. Not, clearly this chart is not bearish, but I think it would be a very bearish thing if it were to close below, like today would be 853.44-ish. So, but that's unlikely. But who knows? Whenever it closes below this blue line again, I think it's going to take a little bit of a breather. But if it doesn't, then it might just continue up. I'm not sure what that is. Do you know what that is? What?
I believe the technical term is a hot mess.
Yeah.